Northern Mindanao isn't usually on most people's bucket lists, but lately places like Camiguin have been attracting foreign tourists. Before going there, we wanted to get to know the region a little bit better. We are planning a trip to Marawi later in the year, and we knew it would be important to first understand some of the largest provinces here, to get a good grasp of the local culture. There's a reason it is now one of the fastest expanding economies in the Philippines, even beating national growth targets. From the service industry to agriculture, it has a lot to offer. We were taken away by the warmth, the beauty, and the deep cultural roots planted in Bukidnon and Cagayan de Oro, and had a lot of delicious bites served to us. I can't wait to go back for more. I highly recommend you start off at the market in Cagayan de Oro. It's full of all the produce that is grown around the region, and you'll find some famous local dishes here too. From puto maya, or some sticky rice with sikwate, to their version of humba, which is not as sweet as the Tagalog or Visayan one, to some unique Marinao fare. But there is something else CDO is known for. Remember me, though I have to say goodbye. Remember me is a soup here. A prettier way to call soup number 5. Also just a euphemism for a bull, penis, and testicle soup. You don't come to CDO and not try this. You haven't come to CDO in Cagayan de Oro if you haven't tried Remember Me soup. The locals call it RM, or you might know it as soup number 5. For the uninitiated, it's basically the testicles and the penis of the bull that's in a nice soupy dish. So it's really comforting. Usually when you have a hangover of a big night of drinking, you come here and you kind of try to get rid of that. But it's also seen as, obviously, anything with testicles, usually most of the time, well, people will tell you it's an aphrodisiac. Let's give it a try. So this is nice and chunky. It's honestly such a good soup. As long as you don't think about what you're eating. If you haven't had testicles before, I mean, I eat a lot of balls. I'm kind of a ball eater. But if you haven't eaten balls before, you do get kind of like this squishy, fibrous texture that the more you talk about it, the worse it gets in your mouth. But you can get away from that, and if you had it before, the flavor is actually really nice. It's nice and beefy. It's almost like it reminds you of beef cheeks. So there's some gelatin in there. There's probably lots of collagen as well. And the soup is so clean. Slightly, just some slight acidity in there. But really just kind of like really flavorful and umami. And one thing that I've never seen before, which I thought was pretty cool, I was kind of peering on the side there, but they were eating kamote with the soup, which kind of more in Luzon and stuff, you'd eat more of your soups with rice. Here, obviously tubers were huge and still are in the Philippines in terms of carbohydrate sources. The kamote brings a nice kind of sweetness to the dish. It's like a complete meal. This is actually really healthy. I'm gonna take it easy because we have a full day of eating. Cagayan, as we've seen in the market, this is a gateway to great produce, great farms. So there is a lot of great food to be had, and this is only the start. Every city has one carinderia everyone recommends. Jofferson's is tucked away on a green corridor in the middle of the city, flanked by schools and small businesses. Its owner, a former taxi driver, tells us that his food is honest and based on how he likes to eat. And that's all I can ask for. So what do we have in front of us?
This is our typical lunch in CDO.
Okay.
Basically, what we have here, one of my favorites, sinuglao.
Sinuglao.
This one, we got lauya. This is the version of nilaga.
Yeah.
And this is one of the dish that they're famous of. They started with sisig.
So they call it sisig also.
Sisig, no?
Okay.
Their take on sisig, no? The flavor is close to dinuguan with aluya, with ginger.
Oh wow.
Suka.
Very fatty.
So yeah, this one, when collagen is properly cooked, you draw out lots of collagen.
Yeah.
Then maybe the fat content maybe not as evident because of the collagen content, man. Enjoyable.
Amazing.
A lot of spice, no?
So, but if you were to bring this to Pampanga, obviously they would be like, that's not sisig. So we're not gonna claim it. It's just what they call it here.
This one is kilawen. The kilawen take, the way I understand it, this is like close to doing the real pinakurat. So it's
Yeah.
like cook and then
Flash cooked
flash.
pork.
Do not overcook.
And then here, curry.
Regular ginataan. Chicken.
Ginataan.
Chicken, sir, no? Chicken. Oh.
Awesome. Thank you. Salamat.
This one is kawali, but normally when you go to other regions of Visayan, we call it pinakupsan.
Pinakupsan.
So it's like close to chicharon.
Yeah, it's good.
It's close to chicharon. So rendering and then finishing it
Yeah.
before serving. So
We have-
tostado.
We have pork, beef,
Beef,
chicken.
chicken.
So our vegetable is the chicken, basically.
This is vegetable, plant-based,
Yeah,
right?
this is plant-based.
To be technically. You want to try this
Yes,
first?
yeah.
No? That it's still malasugi.
So siniglao, it's malasugi,
Malasugi and then mostly
kinilaw.
mascara, and then anything with the skin.
This is delicious. Spicy. I thought it was going to be way more acidic than that. It's not super acidic. The fish isn't overly cured. There's not like a crazy amount of vinegar in there.
Actually, it is for me. When
Really?
you go to other,
They serve it fresher.
it's really like you have the sashimi effect.
Okay. I'm curious about the sisig. Let's try this. So I don't know if you can tell, but like how gelatinous. That's almost like a gravy. It is delicious though.
With the rice.
Yeah.
With the rice.
And it also has some acidity to it.
Luya. You have
Yeah,
ginger.
there's some ginger, there's some chilies, some
Black
spice,
pepper.
black pepper.
Malasa. Malasa?
It's almost like a braised adobong puti. Like for a long time, right? Okay, let's try the kilawin.
maybe close to this.
Yeah, similar.
Close to this. But here, when you go back and taste this one, there's tabon-tabon, no?
Yeah,
There's tabon-tabon.
It's creamier 'cause of the tabon-tabon, yeah.
oh.
this is delicious.
I like that.
Yeah, this
I like
is so
that.
good. It looks so dry.
Looks so dry.
It looks so dry, but when you put it in your mouth, tender, the fat is rendered out.
Chicharrones, oh?
Yeah,
There, oh.
yeah, beautiful. I'm so full.
Which your favorite? Which one's your favorite?
I think
Aside from this. Sisig, ah.
I would say number one, I'd probably say this, just texture-wise, it's so well done. And then maybe sisig in this one. They're
Understand.
very good. Doi is a character, and I'm so excited to see him again. He came to visit us in Manila and was just a ball of energy, and you could tell that he is in love with what he does. He buys fresh spear or line-caught fish from a local barangay just an hour away from his restaurant, and he prepares it in the sutukil method, fresh and à la minute for all his customers.
This one. This is the lipte.
Ah, oh yeah, okay. I've seen this before. Okay.
Yeah. One fish. This one, sabaw.
Sabaw.
The other half,
This is sabaw.
sabaw.
This is
Ilaw.
ilaw.
The other one,
The other
grilled.
side. Ah, okay. And then when someone eats here, they always order one whole fish?
Yes.
Ah, cool. Okay, so that's why you have different, and
so
always
bata
different fish?
Yes. Yaan, lipte.
So parang your customers come and then they decide what fish they want
Yes.
to sutukil.
Mm.
I'm excited.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's cook this one.
Yeah. You don't get the fish that's in
No, no. The
from
market.
like Sulu or something. Yeah.
No, no. It's not the same quality.
Yeah, of course.
Because in Sulu or in Zamboanga, the vessels there are very large.
Yeah, these are smaller land.
Ah.
So yung for you, yung mga best for sutukil dapat fresh, mga 12 hours delivered na. So that part he's using for the
Kinilaw.
kinilaw. Okay. For the kinilaw part, don't remove the scales. For the
Grill part.
grill part,
you
remove the scales. And then for the soup, the head.
The head. Yeah.
Instead of putting the fish straight on the grill, he puts them in these cages, which helps keep the skin intact, but also allows the cook to continuously rotate the protein, making it easier to achieve a consistent doneness throughout the meat. Next, he shows me what it takes to make a beautiful tinola. So you cut the face pa rin, cheeks off, and then you quarter it, okay. So what's the secret of a good tula?
The secret of a good tula is once it boils, you remove the scum.
Okay, so you clean the broth.
Yes.
So ginger, lemongrass, tomatoes, spring onions,
Wombok.
and then asin.
Asin.
Then yung mga slime, no?
Yeah.
Konti. Pero you can leave it naman, right? It's just clearer. Or may
Hindi.
ibang lasa
different.
talaga.
Ibang lasa. Mawawala yung ano ba, yung langsa.
Okay. Pero depende sa fish pa rin.
Depende sa fish.
So what's your favorite fish for tutukil?
Ito, lipte, yung malapunti.
Malampun.
Masarap yun.
Pero rare na.
Rare. Kasi yung dinideliver nila, hindi ka naman maka-request na ito yung gusto ko. Kung ano lang yung catch nila,
Yun
lang.
na. Pero in the net fishing or line?
Spear.
Spear?
Yeah.
All your fish is spearfish? Cool.
Some of them are yung tawag namin dito, pranghe.
Okay.
Yung may hook. Yeah. Yung ito yung nagpapasarap.
Yeah, that's what adds the spring onions will add parang acidity,
Yes.
earthiness to the flavor of the dish. That's good.
Later, pag maano na to,
That's tasty.
maano yung
The flavor will come back together already. The last piece, the crown jewel, la pièce de résistance, my favorite, the kinilaw. So ano yung technique ng tabon-tabon?
Ganyan.
So Doy is scraping it slowly, so it takes a while. So it's like really fine shavings.
Para yung creaminess niya ba? Yung color
So
niya.
parang yung milky color.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I try?
Sige.
So slowly lang.
So, slowly lang. Para maging paste lang siya.
Gets. Okay. So ito yung proper amount. So next,
This one. Bahal. Day old, 2 day old na tuba.
2-day-old tuba. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a mix of, this is a 2-day-old fresh tuba. You have a little bit of acidity, but it's really more on, imagine like an old red wine. That's the flavor you get, but not too arid or too acid. So how much do you add, Doy?
Sige. I-smash. Yan yung kulay ng color.
Dapat ganito. So who taught you how to make kinilaw?
Sa lang, yung parang binugoy style ba? Parang pang tambay lang nito. Yung doon sa Talisayan, may nagkikilaw doon sa sa tabing dagat yan.
Pero ito, yung style mo. Your own style. So parang you perfected it to how you like.
Walang perfect ng pagkinilaw, depende lang sa mo.
Sa tao.
Kasi ang iba gumagamit talaga na yung maasim na suka. Yung pang-mix nila.
So
Set
next,
aside.
set aside.
Next one, you slice the ginger thinly. Slice.
And then julienne.
Julienne. Di ba you said you had hindi ka pumunta sa mga culinary school? Wala kang background ng
Wala. I just married a actress.
You just made
That's my skill set.
pareha pala tayo. Kasi hindi ako nakapasok sa sa mga
Sa culinary school.
Wow!
You're putting me to work, huh?
Lubos-lubusin na natin, boss, kasi nandito ka na. Para actual mo talaga na ikaw, this is
This is the
taste.
proper.
Ah.
Each time I make kinilaw,
Mm.
I always get comments from people from Cagayan
Mm.
saying that's not real kinilaw. You have to come to Cagayan to try a real kinilaw. Always.
Okay lang yan, sir. Next one, this one. Yan na.
So your first step is salt.
Salt. You mix it with your hands para mas masarap.
With my hands?
Yes.
Really?
Oh. That is the proper way.
To toss it. Okay.
Oh.
Like this.
Yeah, para wala na yung salt saka yung
So ito yung first wash.
the ingredients. Yan.
So now this is the
Tuba.
tuba vinegar.
Okay.
Okay.
Fresh.
Fresh tuba.
Ah.
Okay. Can I try?
Sige, try.
Oh, amazing.
Mas siya, mas sweet, di ba?
Yeah.
Ah.
So you don't use vinegar like parang yung strong
No.
vinegar? You don't. So it is very different. Tabon-tabon.
Salt. Sige, yung mix. Be, ako doon mag-try dahil sa imuha bisunod, be.
This is actually blowing my mind in terms of how it's made. You eat kinilaw in a certain way your whole life, and then you eat it this way, and it's completely different from everything you've learned. And the flavor that you associate with the dish is not wrong, but it's completely interpreted in a whole different way with these ingredients in a different place.
The next one will be...
Suha.
Suha. That one lang.
So one muna. These are juicy. So yun lang muna.
Yan na muna.
Try it.
Try.
So you always try it.
Pero dito, measured lahat. Kaya yung
Yung consistency.
Ah.
So yung acidity, hindi from the vinegar, it's from the suha talaga.
that one.
Kalamansi.
Oh.
So ito, acidity
Dalawa lang,
pa rin,
dalawa lang.
pero may sweetness na because of the calamansi. It's in there.
Okay na to.
Okay na eh. Thank you, Doy. That was so cool to learn how you do it.
Yes.
Let me try the tinola. So usually every table will have,
Yes, sotokil.
pero may,
May iba.
I saw you have mga
Squid.
specials pa rin.
Ah.
Okay.
Next time na lang.
You want some? Or no? I feel like you eat every day, so I don't know if you, do you want?
Yeah, okay lang ako.
Don't worry.
Mga nahiya naman ako. Ikaw lang unang kumain. Kaya yung bisita eh.
This I'm super excited for. Lipte, right?
Lipte.
Lipte. Wow, that is a meaty piece of fish. And then this you dress with soy sauce lang?
Soy sauce, chili, and lemon.
Lemon.
Ano lang sabi? Okay na, cowboy.
Mga Makati Cowboys.
Yan. Saka yung soy sauce. Wait lang, vinegar. Yung suka.
Ito suka talaga.
Galing pang ganito.
Same.
Same.
Let's try this. Oh, this one's very good. No? Very meaty, flaky. Wala masyadong parang fishy flavor. Lipte.
Yung ginawa mong kinilaw. Nanginginig pa, boss. Fresh na fresh yung isda, oh.
Sa kitchen mo, may parang one staff dedicated sa kinilaw, isa.
Kinilaw, isa.
Okay. So they all become experts in one station.
Sa pag-grill, isa. Sa pagluto, isa.
Isa.
At saka sa kilaw, isa. Yummy! Soft drinks! Soft drinks, boss.
Okay.
Beer! Mamaya na daw, pagkatapos.
Maybe I'll hip up.
Musta yung tinola, boss?
Sarap. Doy, so good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you.
Balik-balik ka, boss, ha?
I don't think you realize how special the food is you make. Yeah, seriously. It's
Baka-
okay, you can be humble, but
Baka ikaw lang yan, sir.
you're very good. You're very good. It's happened a few times. I was in a province, looked around, and in my head thought loudly, this doesn't look like the Philippines. I realize now that that is probably one of the most ignorant things that you could say. The Philippines is diverse, not just its food, its people, but also its landscapes. Bukidnon is a breath of fresh air, literally. The pride of the locals can be felt everywhere here, from the farmers and their produce to the tribes keeping their traditions alive. The Lumads are probably the closest living descendants of the ancient pre-colonial Basal East Asian people, some of the first people to call the Philippines home, and they had a rich tattoo history that has been disappearing. We visited different Manobo tribes around the mountains and were amazed with what we witnessed.
Tattoos tell stories, often symbolizing a person's history and passions. Since pre-colonial times, tattooing has been widespread among indigenous peoples across the Philippines. More than decoration, tattoos signified social status, lineage, and accomplishments. Today, traditional tattooing is in decline, but some indigenous communities preserve it as artistic expression, a connection to ancestral roots, and a means of reclaiming cultural identity. In Idana Village, Barangay Kibungkog, San Fernando, Bukidnon, we meet Piper Abbas, a Philippine tattoo researcher. He explains that every tribe in Bukidnon holds an opening ritual before tattooing. This begins with a prayer to honor ancestors, seek protection for the community, and ensure visitors' safety. It also invites ancestral wisdom from the elders.
Anong community pupuntahan natin?
Kibungkog.
Oh, ano meron
Ito
dito?
yung Kibungkog, ancestral domain ng Tiguanon. Tiguanon people. So this is the Idana village at ang may-ari ng lupa is sila talaga, yung mga ancestors nila. Sila yung mga palagi narito sa Idana village. Sila ang nagmi-maintain.
Amin ko manika, waro, bunga, waro mamaon.
Lamang ko'y bunga.
Daisok mamaon.
May pa'y nagdala deko.
Nako, dala.
Nakadala.
Manika sa tayo.
Manika!
Witong ko lang sa akin.
Wapa.
Hiyaay magbabahayo o dakok ginawat amitan magbabayo sa init kalibutan impalog sa din kabugtong nanak din na si Jesu Kristo kaito kalibutan aw kanaki og kailaw nagsayaw tabang kakawan sa amay na magbabayo kag buligi yo kanami kay kung agpanalangin siya mabisita ang tudto kang turan magbabahayo amin da.
The community generously performed for us, filling the air with melody and movement. They proudly showcased Bangkakawan, a fishing ritual and log dance from the Tiguahanon Manobo. A carved log, shaped like a palungan, snake, is tapped to create rhythms that stun fish, making them easier to catch. A new day begins, allowing us to connect with the community, learn their tattooing traditions, and understand how they forge identity through this ancient practice.
So, ito yung salumayag na tinatawag namin. Ito yung gagawing ink. So, bolitik or ink. Hindi pwedeng wala ito pag nagtatato. So, ito talaga yung main na sangkap. Kasi yung meaning ng tattoo, hindi lang sa symbol. Ito, parang nagdadagdag siya ng meaning, ng katangian, kung anong ibig sabihin. Tinatawag na salumayag o almasiga. Ito lang siya, ipaapuyin lang natin tapos kinokolekta yung suit, kukolektahin natin. Yung maitim hanggang maitim na siya. Butang ko ni kayo, baka mainit mamaya. Bahagi siya sa kung tinatawag na palina. So kung magpapalina, mula pa yan na practice mula pa sa mga pre-colonial times, ancient times. Ginagamit pa rin dito. Malaki pa rin yung kahulugan dito. So, medyo mahirap na kasi yung punong kahoy na nakukunan yan, nasa loob pa ng gubat. So, may kalayuan. Meron din mga anuos dito tsaka dyan, pero hindi yan pwede gagamitin kasi hindi salumayag yung source ng ink. So wala siyang kahulugan, wala siyang dati, yan yung ginagamit na torch. Pag madilim, yan yung nagbibigay ng ilaw kung sa baga. Wala pang kuryente noon. So yan talaga yung importante. So isa sa mga paniniwala is yung tattoo silbing maging symbol o parang designation kung based on the design, the tattoo itself, kung saan ka galing, so para makilala ka, parang ilaw siya, ganon. So symbolically parang nag-intertwine ang element tsaka the purpose of the tattoo. Ganon. Yan yung tinatawag na sulo tagimukod, which is ilaw sa kaluluwa ng kaluluwa. Pwedeng dalhin natin to pero ito na lang yung gagawin natin. So long before the Spaniards arrived, the Philippines has been practicing tattooing. So when they came, when the Spanish arrived, nakita nila na yung mga natives sa Pilipinas puno ng tattoo. Kaya tinawag nila yung bansa natin Islas de los Pintados. So the island of the painted ones kasi puro tattoo yung nakita nila. Maraming mga meanings that is specific to the community or specific to the ethnic groups. But the general The general idea of tattooing siguro is a mark of identity. Kasi makilala mo kung saan siya galing based sa tattoo na nasa katawan niya. As time goes by, as the Spanish colonial rule took over the Philippines, slowly changing the dynamics of our culture as a people. Unti-unti nang nawala yung katutubong practices. Titingnan natin yung mga nasa syudad, yung origins nila katutubo din eh. So parang tinataboy na nila yung history nila tapos ini-embrace na nila yung colonial identity nila. Kung titingnan mo nga yung school system natin sa history, siguro may 3 to 5 pages lang bago wala pa yung Kastila. The Tabun Cave and the Burial Caves, and then Magellan Cave, and eto na yung history natin. Eto na yung sayo, yung identity mo. So, parang nawala na talaga yung kultura na galing pa sa ninuno. Si Jovian, siya mo'y bata ni Dato Malipayon. So si Inay Norita, isa sa mga naging nanay ko na rin sa ilang taon nang lumipas. Yan na yung ano. So hindi na natin naabutan kasi namatay na siya nung last month. Yan si Inay Norita. Yan si Inay Norita. So nung nawala na si Inay Norita, siya naman yung na susunod. Siya yung binigyan ng gopos ng, hindi kay Inay Norita, sa ibang tiyahin.
Oo, ibang tiyahin.
Sa ibang tiyahin niya. So, so, dito sa komunidad nila, siya na yung sumusunod. Kung may magpapatato, siya yung ano dito sa kanila.
Magbabayo sa Tigwanon, magbabayo, pwede kang panalangin sa mo bisita na yan to. Kahit
So, ako po pala si Jovian Imindagnay from Tiguhanon Tribe. Nanggaling po sa isang sulok ng bundok na makikita nyo talaga na nice place talaga. Proud ko po talaga na nice place ang aming lugar. Isang tribong Tiguhanon means Tigwa is malapit kami sa Tigwa River. Ito ang pangotob na knife. Ang tawag dito is gopos sa amin. Ito talaga, 13 years old pa siya. Hanggang ngayon, na-excess pa din. Pinasa niya sa akin.
Nalulun ako sa meaning, kung ano yung story. Parang doon ako nakafocus. Ba't ganito? Ba't bundok? So nung nakita ko na may kaugnayan pala yung mga symbolism sa chanting, then na-connect ko na, story pala to. Isa pala itong parang memory of our past. Then nung na-realize ko na history pala to, yung hindi nakasulat sa libro, and then it became kailangan itong ma-preserve. Kasi kung mawala na yung tattoo, mawala na din yung story behind it, mawala na ang history natin bago dumating yung mga Kastila. Incision ang method. So gopos ang atong gamiton. Parang sa kultura talaga yung pinagsimulan ko. Sa salita, nagsimula sa salita, tapos dahan-dahan sa sayaw, then eventually nahulog sa tattoo. Kasi gusto akong magpatato dati. Walang masyadong information na hinukay ng konti-konti hanggat nahulog na ako sa rabbit hole. Meron palang ibang pananaw or ibang perspective. Parang ganon. So, as far as the tradition is, ang kaalamang katutubo parang iba sa secular na pananaw. So, yung paghahanap ko sa symbolism ng mga tattoo, kung ano bang meaning sa kanila, parang nahulog na sa katutubong pananaw.
So, ipakilala ko po ito si Nanay, Nana Juliana Binaod from Kibungkog, isang Tiguhanon na tribo nang galing po dito sa suksok ng bundok, napalibutan ng bundok. Ito po, ipakita ko ang kaniyang pangotob. Ang pangalan po ng kanyang pangotob, ito po, dito po sa kamay muna, kamay. Bulan. Ito po, kamay. Ang sabi po daw dito ay, pa sa inay, hagdan. Yung hakoran, what we call this is stair. Then, ang iba, ngipon. Yung ngipon is ngipin. Ngipin. Then, iba, daan, road, water. Then, pakaganan, kakino. Kasi mata-mata. May maliit dito na sabi niya, igmata.
Saligmata.
Saligmata. Saligmata din, maraming mata. Maraming mata, saligmata. Bundok na, pakaganan, kakino.
Takorog tupang.
Takorog tupang is papuntang taas at saka ibaba. Bundok, din pakagananig ko. Tiro, siya? Tirog. Tirog. Ito. Ito tirog is, makikita mong tirog is nakaguhit dito sa ibaba at dito nakapag-engage. Ano ba yan? Yung may tulay. May tulay dito. So yan ang irog. Irog po. Then, tirog. Then, dito, pa siya kaing-ing kay. Kasi ini. Sain.
Kakin lang na ni ko na karaw-karaw.
Oh, karaw-karaw. Yung karaw-karaw kasi isa gunta. Timailhan. Karaw-karaw po, yun itong maliit. May karaw-karaw. Karaw-karaw is kalendar namin ng mga tribo. Nanay Juliana Binaod.
Ilan taon na po si nanay?
Pila ka doon?
Ay, ano ka
Hindi niya alam yung mga edad niya noon. Pero may ano naman, may senior citizen. Si nanay is si Tintay, kadiyot citizen no? Si Tintay, Tris, ano kaya? Kadiyot citizen no? Si Tintay 7. Si Tintay 7. Pero hindi talaga niya alam.
Baka 100 ka na.
Siguro 100 na nanay. Nakako kapag ko hapon. Warad. Wara. Wakpan. Okay, so.
Ano po meaning nung sa tenga ni nanay?
Ito po, songol. Songol po ito. Ang, pakailabi, kagko kay. Isang maliit din na knife. Iguhit dito para malaki. Si Nanay Elsa, irob lang ang sa kanya. Kasi si Nanay, tirog, kaldo ka na kani, kuang ka. Bago pa lang si Nanay na nalagyan. Kasi si Nanay noon, mahadlok. Mahadlok siya. Natakot siya noon sa kababata niya. So, hindi siya nalagyan. Bago lang ito nalagyan. 2000, mukhang 2 taon pa ito.
Ikaw naglagay? Meaning yan. Bago din ah.
Bago din. Ito, same din, pero ako sa new generation ko na may sarili akong meaning.
Anong meaning naman
God is always on my top. Yan talaga.
So, dito sa Bukidnon, yung nagpa-practice pa ng tattoo is yung mga Matigsalog, Tiguhanon, at saka mga Manubo groups. Meron pang mga Manubo groups na hindi pa sila neither Matigsalog, neither Tiguhanon, but they speak the same language. All the way to Davao, ang Ata Manubo. So, sila yung basically na nagtatato. In a way, siguro naapektuhan yung dynamics sa tattooing practice. Makikita din natin kasi hindi lang sa tattooing practice, makikita natin sa pananamit, sa embroidery, sa sayaw, sa music. So, parang nagsa-struggle sa bawat identity ng Filipino ang indigenousness, yung roots niya, tsaka yung the colonial identity.
We continue our journey, immersing ourselves in another community in Simsimon, San Fernando, Bukidnon.
So, nandito tayo sa ancestral domain ng mga Matigsalog, dito sa kalagangang bahagi ng San Fernando. Isa sa mga tattooist sa mga Matigsalog na si Inay Pilansa, si Bugad. It's true that tattooing is tied with warrior culture. But it's not limited to that, and that's what we found out, that merong mga lalaki na may tattoo na hindi warrior, hindi nakapagpatay. Merong specific na tattoo na inilalagay only for those nakapatay ng tao. hindi lahat ng tattoo designs pang warrior lang. Merong mga designations yan eh. May 7 tribes na recognized: Tigaunon, Matigsalog, Talaandig, Tigwahanon, Umajamnon, Manubo, at yung Bukidnon. Pero meron pang mga subgroups within those 7 tribes na hindi na-mention sa 7 tribes. Meron pang Tagulwanon, merong Daraghuyan, Pulangyon, marami pa. Iba't ibang ethnic groups, may iba't ibang mga salita, pero nagkakaisa yung ano nila. Yung tingnan nyo yung mga sayaw, tsaka mga ritual, mga chantings, may commonality sila. Parang may common factor na nag-iisa sa kanila. Kahit na marami yung mga salita, merong mga commonality na nagko-connect sa mga tribo. Siguro sa ano ko lang to sa pagre-research ko ng tattoo, kung ano yung nagsisimula kasi kung ano yung meaning nito, ano yung terminology, anong ibig sabihin. So kadalasan hindi mo talaga mahahanap kung anong ibig sabihin sa libro. Walang mga libro na nakalaman yung mga ibig sabihin. Meron tidbits and pieces, pero pag pupunta ako sa mga elders, tapos pinag-uusapan na kung ano yung nabasa ko, parang iba, parang hindi naabot sa naisulat ng libro ang totoo na mga practices. So katulad ng sinabi ni Dato Balagisi sa akin na kahit ilang libro isusulat ng mga dayo na researchers, hindi daw nila matutungkad yung lalim ng kaalaman ng mga ninuno. Nung nakaraan na bumisita ako dito, wala akong planong magpangatob. Nung bumisita ako nung nakaraan, matagal na. Hindi naman masyado. Nung bumisita ako dito, hindi ako nakapag-alam sa ilan na pupunta ako dito, parang biglaan. Tapos nung pagdating ko dito, si Inay Pelanza naghahanda na sa bukos niya. Parang siguro di niya alam kung sino yung pupunta. Pero nung pagdating ko dito, parang ready na lahat. Wala akong choice nakapag-set up na eh. So siguro yung sabi niya na yung araw na yun para sa akin daw talaga, hindi ako nakapag-prepare yung sarili ko. Kaya sa Higaunon, nung una akong nagre-research, mahirap talaga hanapin ang tattoo ng Higaunon tsaka Talandig. To the point that yung mga elders nagsasabi silang wala sa atin yan, hindi tayo nagtatattoo, hindi natin practice yan. So hinayaan ko lang muna. Tapos doon ako tumingin sa may nagpa-practice pa ng tattoo. At doon ako nakikinig, bumibisita ako sa may nakilala ko yung dati ng mga kakilala ng mga lolo ko. Kinakausap ko sila tungkol sa pagtatattoo, kung anong ibig sabihin. So actually medyo matagal akong silang nag-open talaga kung anong laman ng mga meanings, ganon. Kung may tattoo ka, tunay ka na native. Mas tunay ka pa sa native na walang tattoo. Yan yung kung tatanungin mo yung mga matatanda, yan yung sasagot nila. There's room for both contemporary and tradition sa tingin ko. Pero katulad nito na nandito tayo sa ancestral domain, yung traditional talaga. Kasi pag iibahin natin, mawawala yung essence saka yung bahagi na connected sa tattooing. Yung tattoo in traditional sense is remnants from our ancestors. It's history. Hindi siya na limitahan sa isang definition. Kung lalagyan natin siya ng isang definition lang, parang hindi natin mabibigyan ng tunay na hustisya kung ano yung tunay na kahulugan niya. Kasi pwedeng ritual, ganun lang kasi yan yung hindi lang sa tattoo eh. Pero yung kwento niya nasa chanting, connected to oral beliefs, and in a way tied up to history. In metaphoric sense sa mga chanting, di ba? So, para sa akin, yung traditional na pagtatuwing is parang mensahe mula sa mga ninuno natin in form of symbols, geometric designs, ganon, na may meaning, na may story. Isang word, wahig or water design, maraming i-extra, maa-unpack pa natin yan. Hindi siya limitado sa tubig lang. Marami pang meaning kung i-unpack natin na nag-uugnay sa history ng mga tao.
Kasi yung design na to, parang shoot din sa parang may significance din sa mga higaunin. Yung sa oral tradition, yung behind.
Traditionally, the tribe's tattooist chooses the design and placement. For people, Inay selects dinabud, local grass, and tirug, stairs, to be inked onto his skin. One of the last indigenous tattooists in the community, Inay Pinasa hails from Simsimon, San Fernando. A matigsalug manobo, she inherited her knowledge from her aunt and grandmother and now mentors people in the art of tattooing.
So, yung pagtatattoo, yung mga meaning sa mga tattoos, tinuturing itong sagrado. Katulad din ng iba't ibang bahagi ng kultura, pagcha-chanting, pag-embroidery, pag-weaving, kahit ano yung makikita, paggawa ng kuglong, kung sa Higaunon, Talaandig, Katyapi. So may symbolism ito na hindi basta-basta pwedeng sabihin ng mga matatanda. May protocols bago muna natin pwedeng pag-usapan to. Pero merong surface level of information. So siguro yan yung mga nasa common knowledge na pwede lahat, alam na ng lahat. Katulad nga nung nagtanong tayo sa Kibungkog na ano yung ibig sabihin ng pangatob, yung first na sagot talaga, tunay na katutubo, tunay ako na manubo, tunay ako na ano. So it's the safest way na hindi natin pwedeng mabibreak yung protocols na nandoon. Kadalasan kasi yung concept na yan, hindi pa yan nila naiintindihan. Until a day comes na merong kano na pupunta dito, magpapatato. Sige, bigay mo sa akin yung kamay mo. Tapos sabi yung foreigner, hindi sa kamay, dito ko ipalagay. Tingin sila, hindi nila magagrasp. Bakit? Bakit? Yung sa isip nila. Parang, eto yung medyas, ba't mo sa ulo mo? Parang ganun yung you let the tattooist do their profession. Parang tabu na kukunin mo yung responsibilidad nila and you take it upon yourself. Pinagtiwalaan sila ng mga matatanda nila na wala na ngayon, na naging ninuno na eto yung history natin. Ikaw yung magpatuloy, magsaysay para sa kanila. Wala tayong written tradition, pero meron tayong tattooing tradition.
May responsibilidad ako bilang isang younger na tattoo artist na ipakita din sa mga kabataan na ang ating tattoo ay hindi mawawala sa ating tribo kasi ito lang talaga ang pagmana ng ating mga elders. Responsibilidad natin ito.
Nung pagsimula kong pag-research, hindi ko na priority yung pagre-revive. Kasi nalulun ako sa meaning, kung ano yung story. Parang doon ako nakafocus. Then nung na-realize ko na history pala to, yung hindi nakasulat sa libro, and then it became kailangan itong ma-preserve. Kasi kung mawala na yung tattoo, mawala na rin yung story behind it. Mawala na ang history natin.
This sense of pride that the Manobos have can be seen yearly in their festival. The Kaamulan is the most unique festival in the country with authentic rituals and that celebrates our indigenous people. That connection to their roots and history is also seen through the local food. The chefs and cooks we met all had a sense of place about them. I started off my exploration in Kumaykai River Farm, the perfect example of a Bukidnon dwelling, unimposing, open, in line with nature. Today, it's part restaurant, part glamping, campground, pop-up space, open concert area, farm, and feels like an ever-evolving, beautifully designed DIY project that exists for its community and the people who work here. I feel like each time I come to Bukidnon, there's a really strong community bond
In this area, yes.
in this area. Because you guys are all farmers, all have the same
We have
kind
the
of
same,
ethos.
we have the same mindset.
So this before you're saying all of this was farm.
Yeah, it's farm. Where the house is was the only place that doesn't have a greenhouse.
Is it the
Yeah, nursery.
nurseries for the lettuce?
Yeah.
So when you first started this, the first initial idea was, one, it was just to live here.
Yeah.
I mean, so you had the commercial farm, and then you decided,
It was my dad's farm,
Yeah.
and I decided to build a house.
you've only set up the restaurant 2 years ago. And what was the idea there? You wanted to start a business here, or?
Yeah.
But still following kind of your philosophy on
Yeah, always.
how you want people to appreciate this place and
I want to keep it like that.
yeah. JJ built his house here, close to the river, the perfect lullaby, he says. I first heard of JJ when I was shooting a series in nearby farms about 10 years ago. A young chef who cooked tasting menus in the mountains of Bukidnon from his home kitchen by invitation only. Creative minds often don't settle. The idea grew, so did the space. JJ is a collector, a pianist, an artist, and a chef. All of that culminates in how he approaches food, looking at ingredients as vehicles of flavor rather than prescribed dishes. Everything is made from scratch in collaboration with nature and his people. So what are you making today? This is the Robin Padilla?
Robin Padilla sandwich. Reuben sandwich is a Russian sandwich
Yeah.
made with beef pastrami and sauerkraut. But this is a Filipino version.
Nice.
So we're using our smoked beef here. This has been smoked for 10 hours.
Oh wow. Why is that such a big thing here? Like sausages, smoking?
Bukidnon a long time ago was dominated by Americans because of Del Monte.
Ah, okay.
The ham, pineapple-fed cattle.
Cattles, yeah. So it's a strong American influence.
Influence, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what Bukidnon was really famous for. Ham.
Correct, yeah. I mean, Bukidnon is also known for having amazing agriculture, right? There's a lot to play with, but even more, the ground's fertile enough to be able to grow different things also, right?
Yeah, it's like the food basket of
Yeah.
the Philippines. So this is the caramel sauce. A little bit of the homemade hot sauce. Homemade coleslaw.
I was trying to figure out your menu, and I feel like it's just the underlying kind of concept is just making everything from scratch. So how did you get into cooking? Like, when did you learn?
After college, my mom go to the US. I went there. So happened a cousin of mine owns a Thai restaurant. I got bored. So after like a month, oh man, I wanna go home. No, stay there. I was an unwanted child, right? So my cousin told me like, Jay, why don't you learn how to cook? I can teach you. So that was my first lesson, you know. I worked 4 years. Then I came back to the Philippines in 2008, opened a restaurant.
So when do you think you started developing kind of like your personal style with food?
Yeah, when I did the degustation, I really had to study and somehow, work with what I have.
So is that kind of like your approach to cooking? Is using what's around you?
Yeah.
How to preserve it for a longer time. So very farming kind of
Yeah, survival.
mindset, surviving mindset.
That's it. That's our Reuben sandwich. Enjoy.
Watching him and his team is like watching craftsmen using the best ingredients to put out their best work with skills that are developed in peace. From the breakfast setups by the river to their pizzas, they are made with care, vibrant, fresh, colorful, and a representation of their terroir. Oh, this is a cool spot. This is staring at me, so I'm gonna try this. I love how colorful this is. Let me try Mark Schultz's.
Robin Padilla.
What's kind of your hope for Bukidnon? How do you want to see it develop? Because right now it's still very much under the radar, right? Like when you think of
It is, but it's
mountain towns in the Philippines, Baguio comes to mind.
yes.
But I think this is quite special because it's still very
Still very raw, but
still very unknown and still very raw.
little by little, it's getting known, you know.
Mm.
The government, especially Department of Tourism, they're saying like it's safe to go to Mindanao. I just hope that, you know, the government's really gonna take care of the waste management, but, you know, the forest should be protected.
Right. I mean, for me, it's also a big thing about the type of businesses, because I'm guessing right now it's going to be mostly local, but I feel like you can curate it, because if people come here for the nature, ideally all the businesses blend. Feels very homey.
Homey, yeah. I prefer Kumaikai to stay like that, though.
Where's the sweetness from?
From the caramel. That caramel.
Caramel. Okay, that's a good sandwich.
Thank you.
I understand why Mark likes it so much. Driving along the province in the lowlands, you will see a lot of pineapples. In the 1920s, Americans brought in seeds from Hawaii, where a pest infestation was devastating their crop. It grew from there and became the base of operation for Dole. But before all that, Bukidnon is really the home of the Lumads, some of the original inhabitants of the country. There are still 7 hill tribes in Bukidnon. All of them are fighting to preserve their traditions through their music, their tattoos, and their way of life.
I'm Kirk Paulo T. Cañete po. I'm a local tour guide here in Impasugong po and brand ambassador na rin po ng Proud Lumad po. Ang Proud Lumad, mapreserbar pa gyud og unsa gyud ang naakaron nga nabilin pa kabilin sa mga katigulangan nga amo pang maika-share sa kadaghanan sa kabatan-unan sa puhon. Mao na among gatan-awon sa layo ug sa puhon nga makit-an pa nila og unsa among nakit-an sa pagkakaron nga ilang kabilin sa katigulangan para sa amoa. Isa pod sa amo diri kay ang embrace authenticity lagi, so gawas atong pag-preserve sa culture nga anaa pa karon. Ang among mga products diri kung makita ninyo sa akong likod na mga painting, so gi-invite pod namo ang uban pod nga mga local artist para pod ilang maipasundayag pod og unsa pod ang ilang kaya ipakita. So mo na mo naka-display, isa pod ana nga makatabang pod mi sa ilaha. Ang Kalandang Weavers, just like naa diri na mga product pod, ang Kalandang Weavers from Mintapod. So layo na kay na sila dinhi, far-flung areas na gid na sila. Pero nadala na mo ilang produkto diri, nagkakita sila kay para ang amo tabang lang gid pa pod sa ilaha nga mo kita sila nga napoy ilang abot pod.
Ating laago ang tribus Bukidnon.
In behalf pod siguro sa mga lumad nga nabilin din sa Bukidnon, nga proud lumad, mapasalamaton kay mi kay isa gyud ang gobyerno nga naghatag og panahon para mapreserba ug unsa pa ang naa sa amo diri. Dayon isa pod ana nga maong nagpabilin pa gyud ang pagka-authentic sa Bukidnon kay daghan kay mga advocate po diri nga mga low-key lang gyud kay sila nga gatabang sila para lang gyud dili mawala, mapadayon og mapreserba ang kultura nga naa pa sa amoa. Ang 7 tribes sa Bukidnon is Bukidnon, Higaunon, Talaandig, Manubo, Matigsalog, Tigwahanon, and Umayamnon. Pinakanindot gyud sa Bukidnon is ang amo gyung kultura. Walay kapariha, walay pwede mo awat. Kay kamera nga festival sa tibuok Pilipinas, ang non-religious na festival. Mo na among gusto i-preserve pa gyud. Kay lahi ra gyud og naa ka sa Bukidnon. Nindot gyud kayo ang Bukidnon nga bisitahon.
We met Joven, who has been living that ethos. He is a proud Lumad and has been fighting to preserve their traditional music, armed only with his kuglong.
Ang kultura tradisyon ating laago ang tribus Bukidnon ating laago ang kultura tradisyon ating laago ang tribus Bukidnon. Ikinabunggi ang batasan bilin sa tigulang atong laagon ang talaandi atong laagon ang higaon atong laagon ang umayam atong laagon
Ang kuglong galing sa mga matatanda o si Apo taga Bicol. Way back 2020 naghanap ako ng sa community ng kuglong. Ito yung binigay ni Magbabaya. Wala itong damalan o fret. I-explore ko na lang paano ako matuto ng kuglong. Tapos ito yung modern na to na kolong, yung tuning pigs. Nilagyan ko na lang yun ng pick up. At saka nakasulat dito, 7 tribes, Talaandig, Higaunon, Manubo, Umayamnon, Matigsalog, Tiguhanon, and Bukidnon. Yun yung tribo dito sa Bukidnon na pinapasyalan ko. Tapos ito, ginawa ko ng pangutob, like ganito. Kasi connected siya Flow ito ng music o flow ng tubig. Ito nga pala yung buhok ng kabayo. Ay ito yung simbolo pang madali kang makilala na dun yan sa San Fernando. Kapag nag-study ka ng kuglong or explorer ka ng tribo. Makilala mo talaga, Tiguhanon yan kasi yung marami yung buhok at saka ang forma ng kuglong is kabayo. Pangarap ko talaga dito sa kuglong, may turo ko sa mga kabataan. Paglaki nila, andito pa rin yung identity ng kuglong. Tsaka ma-play ko sa karamihan na nag-exist pa rin yung tribe ng Tiguhanon. Kahit bata ka pa, nandyan na yung roots mo ng culture mo kasi kapag wala ka ng culture, wala ka ng identity. Kaya nag-pursue ako na bahala na yung iba, basta ako dito, secure ko lang yung culture at tradisyon na binili ng mga apo ko Pamagitan ng play ng kuglong, maturo ng mga bata. Yan yung isa yung way na makapunta ako ng iba't ibang lugar na mai-share ko sa kanila. Kahit papano, kahit bata ka pa, yung culture hindi lang para sa matanda yan Diyan tayo galing
Artistry seems to run deep in Bukidnon, and we found a fashion designer in the most peculiar of places. I'm going to be honest, I had never heard of the Monastery of Transfiguration in Malaybalay. It's a Benedictine monastery known for its pyramid-shaped church designed by national artist Leandro Locsin. That alone is reason enough to visit. It's the perfect backdrop for a spiritual retreat. Established in 1983, the abbey is meant to look like a Filipino Bahay Kubo, come church. It's quite impressive. But that's not the most intriguing story here. We heard of a once prominent fashion designer who eventually became a monk.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Transfiguration.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, please
Everyone,
come in.
Nice
yeah.
to meet you.
Oh,
Sorry,
thank you.
what do I call you? What's your name?
Dom Martin.
Dom Martin.
Dom Martin. Dom is the traditional way of addressing the monks.
Okay.
Gang Gomez was once the most sought-after designer, along with Joe Salazar or Ino Soto. He was known for his embroidery and his use of indigenous materials like piña and abaca. He closed down his shop in Manila in the 1990s when he decided to join this monastery, which had been a dream of his since he was a teenager. A couple of years later, he took up another challenge. He was tasked with designing a 50-piece collection of garments for the Eucharistic celebrations using fabrics woven by the indigenous tribes of the Philippines. He was given 2 years to complete the collection in time for the nation's centennial independence celebration.
I was a fashion designer for 20 years. I had to stop designing first while I was under formation.
Okay.
But as soon as I was solemnly professed, I was immediately asked to start teaching at the Institute of Liturgy on the enculturation of vestments,
Okay.
the students started to ask samples of what a Filipino vestment should look like.
You contributed a lot to this?
I designed all of this.
Ah, you did? Incredible.
Yes, yeah. Nothing's ever really lost. People were saying when I entered the monastery, sayang, you know, had a good career, that you gave it up. It was just a preparation for what I will be doing later on for the church.
Amazing. So have these been worn?
Yes, in fact,
they
this
do?
was
Okay.
worn by the Pope's delegate last July. This was designed for Cardinal Tagle when he was the main celebrant here.
Just like how many tribes around the country indigenize Christianity or Islam, integrating religious beliefs and practices with indigenous traditions, customs, and values, this work showcases how there can be beauty in partnership.
We started with just 7 hectares. Now, after more than 40 years, this is a little over 100 hectares.
Wow. So here, the products that you make are coffee,
Basically
peanut-
coffee. A foreigner came in, looked at the hill that was with coffee trees all in bloom, and he said, why don't you roast your own
Roast them.
coffee and sell it as roasted beans? I said, we don't know
how to do that.
He said, let me teach the monks. I said, you can buy my old machine, pay me when you can.
So a
That's why I said,
blessing.
it was really a blessing.
Yeah. Monasteries, similar to other institutions, require funding to sustain their operations, which include maintaining their facilities and grounds and supporting charitable and educational endeavors. As such, many abbeys have different products they produce. In Belgium, some of them make beer. Others generate income from tourism. Here, they roast their own coffee. After the training and setting up their operations, Dom Martin took a few trips to the capital and went door to door to various retailers to try and get their product on the shelves. Eventually, some large supermarkets started carrying them. The pandemic derailed their plans a little, but you can support them by looking out for Monk's Blend in specialty shops or digital stores. I really, truly enjoyed that. I think spiritual tourism, pilgrimages are becoming things that people kind of search for. These places have a lot of history. And this abbey specifically, why it's so interesting is because it shows you how you can integrate indigenous, cultures into religion, and how these two worlds can kind of work together, and how they can both be uplifted by those shared commonalities. When we were looking for a coffee supplier for our restaurant Chingolo, we knew we wanted to look local. Curve is dedicated to uplifting local communities and advancing the sustainable growth of local specialty coffee. They are thoroughly engaged in the farm-to-cup ethos and collaborate with farmers all around the country. They've set up here around the beautiful Lake Napalit, an area that can grow both Robusta and Arabica beans that are now in high demand. Farming and agriculture are stifled with issues in the Philippines. One of the most pressing ones is that younger generations don't see any future in it. It's ironic. Specialty coffee shops are on the rise in big cities, but farmers are often seen as just suppliers and not part of the whole process. This is where things can and will change. We met brother and sister Elgene and Marvin Dagohoy. Their parents were coffee farmers, but they took things further. They are both certified Q graders, meaning they are skilled in the sensory evaluation of green coffee and have been trained in brewing methods as well. They have an understanding of what customers look for and how they can apply that to their farming practices. They now bring even more value to an already high-value product.
Third generation na kami ng coffee farmers, starting with our lolo. 2012, ang mga kapatid ko, kami yung nagtanim ng puno na sinasaka namin ngayon ng kape. Isang phrase talaga na na-remember ko kay Papa is yung coffee is gold. Hindi namin alam kung ano yun before, but right now, alam na namin kung bakit ginto or magiging treasure yung kape sa family. Kung dito sa Pilipinas, halos lahat kumakain ng bigas. Pero buong mundo, halos lahat nagkakape. Nakita niya na in the long run, magiging in demand yung kape. Right now, dito sa barrio, we have 3 bumibili ng kape namin. Si Curve, si Co-op, tsaka si Kalsada. Sobrang laking tulong ng 3 grupo na to sa community. We have now our freedom kung yung i-deliver ba namin is ripe cherries, green beans, o commercial coffee. We have now an avenue kung saan lahat ng kape may tahanan. Parang ganun. Nagsimula talaga siya na si Curve is providing us trainings. Good agricultural practices up to post-harvest processing. Yung mga local farmers dito sa community, mas naging invested sila na magtanim ng kape because of those mga bumibili na. Mas maganda yung quality, mas higher yung price. So, if we don't adapt to the changes or the modern technology, we will settle pa rin sa commodity price.
In Curve, we do have 16 hectares. All are productive, but we still have 7.5 hectares
To develop.
develop.
Oh wow! And you both grow exclusively for Curve.
Yes, these farm are for Curves, but we
Okay.
have our own farms.
As you manage other farms
Yeah,
also. Oh,
the
nice.
family farm.
Okay.
So in this area, we have 3 varieties, which are Pacamaras. We have sweet coffees, locally known sweet coffees, but it resulted 100% Ethiopian landrace. And we also have a suspected geisha from Baguio.
And these are all subspecies of Arabica.
Arabica.
Yeah.
Have you tried trying the fruit?
A fresh coffee bean. It's like peppery. The harvesting happens in what months usually?
For Arabica, we have only.
Oh wow! Okay. I didn't know
But
that.
for Robusta, we have for like 2 months.
The yield of Robusta is way higher
Ah,
comparing to a tree of Arabica. A Philippine Robusta has been competing in the market for the prices.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the quality of Philippine Robusta is quite similar to Arabica right now.
Correct. I personally like that we're starting to see a lot of more Robusta specialty coffee shops. People are becoming more playful with Robusta. So how does it feel as farmers to kind of see people appreciating that?
It's overwhelming, especially comparing before when coffee was just
Like a commodity?
Yeah,
Yeah.
commodity.
Yeah, yeah,
No one's appreciating it the way how we appreciate other crops. And now it's crazy.
Nice.
It's crazy. So Nanay Primeng and Tatay Freddy.
So they're farmers,
Yes.
but they also do their own
Yes.
their processing and drying here.
Yes. First, they get the berries and then wash it, clean it, do the flotation. So they have their own small all-weather dryer.
Oh, cool.
This natural process is nice because it still undergoes fermentation on its own while drying, so it has time to develop more flavors.
More complexity,
Yes.
more flavors. Okay. And then depending on the process, the prices change.
No, depending on the quality and the cup score.
Okay. So it really comes down to the cup score at the end
Yes,
of
at
when
the
the
end.
green beans are processed. Moral of the story, guys, when you drink your coffee in the morning, you're not only kind of drinking something that was created by a whole community, but you're creating something that is just so intense. For someone who's an outsider, so difficult to kind of understand. So seeing all this will give you greater appreciation, but that's not only the case for coffee, but absolutely every high value crop or any food that you put in your mouth really. So stop wasting. The amazing produce and natural attractions in Bukidnon are enough to bring in any wandering soul, and people here are starting to see tourism as a potential source of livelihood. Some communities that were also previously shut off geographically are also slowly opening up. Our crew, Mon, Kevin, Chester, and Harold, were lucky enough to be invited for a full cultural immersion in one of these tribes. This is actually our first documentary fully in Tagalog.
Habang nasa Bukidnon ng aming grupo, naimbitahan kami ng isang tribong Higaunon upang maranasan ang kanilang mga tradisyon. Sa proseso ng pagdodokumento sa kanilang kultura, may mga bago kami natutunan tungkol sa buhay. Ito ang kwento sa likod ng aming pagkikwento.
Okay. Tayo. Lalo bisita ron.
Oo, tayo hindi sa ginabisita ka ron. Kanya mo na po sa bukas mo ba? O, kanya?
Magandang araw. Pinapakilala ko si Amay Matangkilan ng Tribu Higaunon. Siya po yung leader ng Higaunon sa Mintapud. Prepare siya ng mga gagamitin para sa ritual na gagawin natin.
Sa pagbisita namin sa City Mintapud, iba't ibang karanasan ang gumising sa aming kamalayan. Gaya na lang ng paghahanda ng mamaon ng mga nakakatanda para sa kanilang mga ninuno. Sa mga probinsya sa Pilipinas, nakaugalian ng paggamit ng mama, mamaon o mama. Sabi ng mga lokal, ito raw ang pag-iisang puso ng mga tao, mapabisita man o kapwa lokal. Sa pamamagitan nito, ang isang dayo ay nagiging bahagi ng komunidad.
Piso.
Yung ritual talaga, isa yun sa obligado tayo na lahat ng pumasok dito sa komunidad. Yan yung formal na permission natin pumasok. At saka, it's a form of cleansing sa atin dahil tagalabas tayo. Yung mga kasama ko, sina Dato Juni Pantaon, si Amay, at saka si Brindo Pantaon. Sila yung mga leader ng community nito, ng mga higaunon sa Mintapud.
Sinisimbolo ng mamaon ng pagsusumamo ng tribo sa kanilang mga ninuno para ingatan ng mga komunidad at bisita. Kalakip din ito ang dasal na lumabas ang tunay na intensyon ng mga bisitang gaya namin na lumayo sa kanilang lugar.
Simula ng ritual, kanya-kanyang personal na panalangin ang inalay nila sa magpabaya o may kapal. Sa pagsasakripisyo ng mga manok, naniniwala sila na malumustulan ng mga ito mensahero na maghahatid ng mga dasal nila sa mga ninuno sa kabilang buhay.
Bawat isa sa atin, yung gustong pumasok dito, lagay natin yung kamay natin sa dugo. May mark tayo na cleanse tayo. Parang winawaswasan yung mga kung ano mang galing sa labas. Yan, yung feather nilalagay na sa bangkaso o yan yung altar ng mga katutubo. At merong iba't ibang levels ng altar kasi may iba't ibang levels ng ritual. Ito yung unang parte ng ritual. Lulutuin yun. May second part na ritual na pagsasaluhan ng lahat. Yun yung part na magdadasal tayong lahat. I-offer natin.
Yan. Sinasaing ko na yung kanin ng bigas. Ito si Sir Alden na maisto sa school. Ronnie Tumana. Ako si Lia Pantaon. Yan kaon mo, pakilala ko nga dan nyo ba? Ito, si Ate Teresa na Pantaon, asawa ni Sergeant Pantaon. Ito, si Nanay Luisa na Bandahan, na teacher namin sa tribo. Siya ang teacher namin. At saka si Amay, yung teacher namin sa tribo dito sa klase namin sa SLT. Yun. Kinamo ang pangalan namin dito, Kinamo. Kakainin natin ngayon to pag maluto na itong suman na kamote.
Marami na kami mga pagkain na subukan sa iba't ibang lugar din ng Pilipinas pero wala pa rin masasarap sa pakiramdam na syempre ipaghandaan ang mga tradisyonal na putahe. Iba rin ang saya na makita ang buong komunidad na nagtutulungan para bigyan kami ng mainit na pagtanggap.
Sudo minaray, sudo minawaka, suminaksi, suga ida tuministi. Laktod. Ika-uyag day. Hindi takuha ang takang. Abi, ilan ito maging og tungo doon day. Yapat ang pahimog. Kalimpi din. Duma-duma ka. Banua day. Kadawat na day. Kapukinam day. Sikay. Pabuhat day.
Isang karangalan din na suotan kami ng galang habukala, isang brass bangle ng kanilang dato. Pinaniniwalaan na ang bukala ay may taglay na kapangyarihan para itaboy ang masasamang elemento. Tanging dato lang ang maaaring magbigay nito sa mga taong bumibisita sa kanilang komunidad.
Gahom na dito, katubangan, mas manago. Gahom na ba? Katuban dari sa gagaw. Wala, kumahti na po na. Sige na, gano'n na. Kayo sir, kayong lahat. Pwede tikman nyo yung kuwan, kamutian. Ito, palaka. Yung water grass. Kadaw.
Pinagsaluhan na namin ng mga manok, yung mga inaalay nila sa ritual, yung niluto ng komunidad para sa amin habang binabasaan pa rin kami. Kakaibang pakiramdam dahil para itong commitment na inassign sa amin para maibahagi ang mga kanilang mga kwento sa mas nakarami at pinakamabuting paraan. Yun, iakap na lang namin yung responsibilidad na ito ng buong puso.
Noong una po ay pinaka po si Dato, Mambalasahan, Altuhan. Mario yung Christian na pangalan. So kaming higao noon, dami kami sing pangalan. So ako na po si Idot, yung palayo ko po at saka Brindo po yung Christian na pangalan ko. Tapos yung nag-asawa na ko po yung si Mambibuan. Si Amay, siya po si Amay, si Dato Puregaba, Dato Amay Mantangkilan. May palayaw siya pero hindi masyado siya binabanggit kasi sagrado. Siya ang buong may alam sa tradisyon. Siya din po ang may alam kung ano ang galaw ng kagubatan. Tapos si Dato Manggaygayan, Juni pa tao sa Christianim niya. So bago lang siya na ordinahan pagkadato dahil nagserbisyo siya ng Philippine Army.
Isang po kayo naka-assign?
Naikot ko na ang buong bukid nun.
Ako naman po si Dindo Pantaon, aking nakatandang kapatid. Si Kuan po, Brindo. Yan po.
Amay, baka pwede niyo pong maikwento sa amin kung ano po ang Kadti, ano po yung kahalagahan ng ancestral domain, at paano po ito napunta na i-award na po sa community.
Gusto ko sa iya, marami ko na din si Kaliti, Kalimal, hindi na niya makalini, Amay, kalwagay mas bugtaan.
Sabi ni Amay, nung una, sabi ni Father Bling at saka ni Father Mar, Amay, ang lawak ng iyong lupain. Mas mabuti pa siguro, i-claim mo ito, gawin mo itong ancestral domain, Kadti. Para itong lupain mo, hindi na basta-basta makuha ng iba pang tao. So, ang Kadti na ito ay pang 54 na nai-award kung di ako nagkakamali sa buong Pilipinas.
Amay, paano niyo po pinaglaban yon yung CADTI? Kasi hindi basta-basta nabibigay yan eh.
Sa prinsa, sugod sa ko, ako sa kanalakad.
Ang sabi ni Amay, ang mga boundaries kasi natatakot si Amay na baka lumagpas yung area na ituturo niya sa karatig mga CADTI. So unang ginawa niya, binirefine niya yung boundary doon banda sa Agusan del Sur at
Si
saka
Amay mismo yung umikot dun sa ruta na yun?
Opo, dahil noon pa man alam na ni Amay yun kasi hunter kasi si Amay.
Bakit ganun po pinaglaban ni Amay yung CADTI? Kasi dedikasyon yun eh. 14,000 hectares, inikot ni Amay yun. Ano pong masasabi po ninyo doon? Ang hirap nun.
Si Amay kasi ayaw niya mag-asawa. Kasi gusto niya sa bundok lang siya para mapangalagaan niya yung natural resources at yung mga boundaries na hanggang ngayon pinopromote pa niya. Tapos ayaw niya ng gulo. So kaya iniikot niya yung mga neighboring dato o namahala sa ibang boundary, mga CADTI, ay kinukonsulta niya. Yon ang sakripisyo niya. Nung nagdeklara ng i-claim, so hindi na nahirapan.
Bale, ito po ang kabuuang 3D map ng CADTI ng Agbihico o Agtulaon, Mintapod, Higaonon, Comadon. So, dito yung Agusan del Sur. Doon naman, Misamis Oriental. At dito naman yung Karatig Munisipyo. Ito yung kabuang mapa, makita natin doon banda, mga bulubundukin. Yun yung na kuha ni Amay kanina, nabanggit ni Amay yung bundok na pinakasagrado ng mga Higaonon, yung pinakapik. Andun. Yan ang Mount Kimangkil, yung pinakapik na area dito. So, kung ilocate natin ang Mintapod, andyan sir, kung saan tayo naroon ngayon.
Dito tayo ngayon.
14,313 hectares.
Yung lahat ng boundary na ito, naikot ni Amay?
O, lahat na.
Lagpas pa nga po, sir.
Lagpas pa.
Kasi depende yun sa, kasi nangangaso siya.
Sergeant, paano po natulungan ng Armed Forces of the Philippines yung mga katutubo?
1982, yung NPA, dumami na sila kasi yung mga dato parang minamasa na nila para dumami sila. So kami, nagre-recruit na. Army na. So kinakalat na kami doon sa mga community. So yan ang ginawa ng Army para hindi makapenetrate yung mga NPA. Para yung pamumuhay ng mga lumad, yung mga community, patuloy. Hanggang ngayon, patuloy pa rin yung pamumuhay na mahusay.
Okay. Amay, baka pwede niyo po sa amin ipakilala naman po ang Sitio Mintapod.
Imbe una, ng pasimbo daw sinapo malaas sa doon lang po o ang babasok sa butak Bulacau, mga sundanon, pumangita si Dan.
Sabi ni Amay, nung kapanahonan pa ng aming mga ninuno, ang Mintapod ay peaceful, mapayapa. Isa pa, sabi niya, ang Mintapod ay isang sagradong lugar. Yung tinatawag naming Tulungdanon o sacred ground. So, nung una, hindi ito dapat gawing sitio o gawa ng bahay dahil nga sagrado itong lugar na ito, ang Sitio Mintapod. Pero sa paglipas ng panahon, dahil na rin sa mga tumulong, yung mga ninuno at si Amay, napilitan silang, hey, tayo natin ang mga bahay para dito na tayo manirahan.
Idagdag ko lang siguro, sir. Nagawa itong sitio. Doon pa sila Amay nanirahan sa Patuga.
Mata.
1976. Tapos, may mga religious na pumasok dito na walang paalam. Ang dami sila, mga 100 plus. Dito sila nanirahan. So, yung plano nila na dito sila gawa ng barangay. Kung ayaw nyo na yung mga religious sector na makatira dito, kayo ang tumira dito. kami nang bahala papaalis sa kanila. So doon, ginawa nila Amay, dito sila na nirahan. Tapos sila, Monsignor Rosales, kinausap yung leader nila sa religious sector. So pinaalis sila. So hanggang ngayon, Mintapud.
Bakit po kayo ngayon open na po sa amin na i-share yung kultura, yung pamumuhay, yung tao kasi hindi po lahat open. Hindi kasi sagrado din naman talaga.
Kasi Amay, dati hindi mo makikita yan sa dito. Diyan lang sa sa bundok o sa gubat. Pero nung na-Christianize na kami, kailangan na magsityo, makihalubilo sa mga tao. Kasi ang higao nun, sabi ni Amay, pakumbaba, yung flexible ba, yung ayaw ng gulo. Balikan natin yung sinabi kanina ni Amay na palaging nakipag-usap sa mga silingan o mga neighboring na mga village para yung relasyon na patuloy. Tapos sa tanong mo ngayon na open na, dati pa yan na nung pumasok na yung sa iglesia. So doon na kami na kailangan talaga alagaan natin ang Mintapud. Ikumpara sa ibang lugar, ibang tribo, ay dito ay walang yung tapang. Wala. Oo. Kasi may kultura kami na sinusunod na dati pa. Yung relasyon na parang hahawak ka ng itlog na ayaw mabasag namin. Oo. So kailangan iingatan namin yan. So kaya ang daming pumapasok, tinatanggap kung sino yung magandang pakitutungo o ikatulong dito sa Sitio Mintapud sa Mexico.
Bilang nakakatanda po sa lahat, ano pa pong pangarap po ninyo sa Mintapud?
Sa anak kasaman-saman, so nagpadya ako mga sa hagpa-labrasan, butok, nakataman-taman yung kung Mintapud.
Ang gusto niya ay gusto niya ngayon ay mangyayari lahat ng mga kapatid o mga katribo namin ay magsitol daw na dito.
Isa sa mga pangunahing hanap buhay ng mga kababaihan sa Sitio Mintapud ang paghahat. Malalim ang koneksyon nito sa kanilang tradisyon at kultura. Bawat kulay may kahulugan. Bawat simbolo may kalakip na kwento. May kinalaman din ang edad ng naghahabi sa responsibilidad na nakaatang sa kanya.
Ang kwento nila sa amin, si Baay Anak ang kauna-unahang tagahabi ng hinabol. Gumamit daw siya ng puklas, isang uri ng abihan na kinakabit sa likod. Inuwi raw ni Baay Anak ang habilan at tinawag na hablanan, tina o hilalama, abaka planting material at sugarcane press o ligid-ligid.
Sa tradisyon ng komunidad, sinusuot lang ang hinabol tuwing may special na okasyon gaya ng mga kasal, tribal peace pacts, at pagtitipon bilang pasasalamat sa mga mahalagang bisita. Ginagamit din ito bilang handog o dowry sa kasal o kabayaran para maresolba ang mga di pagkakaintindihan.
Nakatatak na sa kamalayan ng bawat isa ang tradisyon ng paghahabi. Importante ang hinabol sa mga taga-sityo dahil iilang kababaihan lang na tinatawag na bae ang nakakapaghabi sa komunidad. Sa paniniwala nila, ang bae ay may pusong mapagbigay.
Siya po si Vilma Tumanas. Siya yung master weaver, si Canliner as a master weaver. So sila na ngayon ang master weaver din. Ito po si Luisa Bandahan. Master weavers din. Sila na ngayon ang namin, teacher. Ate Lea, siya din yung kasama din dito si Norma Tinapay. Siya ang tagabantay namin dito. So mga bagong weavers, batch namin. Mga kabatch ito.
Batch namin.
Si
Batchmate.
Inday, pinaabot. So mga master na din sila mag-weave. Yung ganito, ito po yung mga traditional sling bag namin. Tapos ito din yung design niya na, ito na din yung pong sabi ko kanina na traditional design. Itong tawag namin dito is ginontian. Ito, kinanaway tulad ng ginawa kanina na pagdidisenyo pa. Ito pong ginontihan, ang bae lang ang pwede mag-weave dito. Bawal kami dito kung hindi pa kami binigyan ng authorized na mag-weave. Tapos ito yung ano niya, ito din yung traditional design din. Kita nyo may kaibahan siya. Tawag namin binodbod, katulad ng ganito, kaibahan din siya. Tulad din ng yung ganito din kinanaway. Ito yung sabi ko na simple design pero traditional din ito. So, bali ngayon, ito yung talagang natural na kulay. Tapos yung mga ganito, kung gusto namin mag-weave ng by meter, so ito na yun siya. Dahil sa sobrang ano na yung nag-production na kami, tapos gusto namin na mas makilala kung ano ang pwedeng magawa ng abaca fiber. So hinaluan namin ng mga earrings or ganito. Kasi sayang naman din kung yung mga yung mga reject namin sa galing dito. So kung itatapon na lang na basura din naman. Sa amin lang talaga sa kababaihan dito, kaya nga nagpasalamat kami kasi pinayagan kami magbenta. Kasi ito na yung kabuhayan namin. Kung wala ito, sabi nga na yung mga master weaver, kasi sabi nila kung hindi ako nakapag-weave or hindi ako marunong dito, yung anak ko, hindi ko masuportaan ng pag-aaral. Parang sa akin lang ang ano siya, sobrang gift, o ano ba yun, ng gift ng Panginoon para sa amin. Matuto kami ng ganito.
Hindi matutumbasan ng mga naging karanasan namin kasama ang komunidad at sunod naman nila kaming tinuruan gumawa ng langkuga, ang bersyon nila ng rice wine.
Galing.
Hindi na ako sa mama, maiiwan ako eh.
Linalabhan yan para gawing salaan sa tinigis.
Naiglamo po doon ay para isaban.
Hindi pwede gamitan yan ng sabon kasi masira yung sinubog.
Sa iya ko isumbo na sa ay pakaduha aldaw. Sa inaw ay hatag inuma.
Sabi ni Bae, pag malagay na yan sa sinubog, yung piniga na tubo, mga 2 araw, pwede na yung inumin. Pero pwede natin tikman.
Sige.
Kung anong lasa niya pag nahalo na yung kuhan, yung piniga na tubo.
Sige, Dato.
Ako ang mauna.
Muna imo. Oh, namadiding. Muna imo dato sa una pa.
Ano lasa?
Hindi na aabot ng 2 araw. Makalasing na to.
Yeah. Ay, sige po.
Sayang ko asoy. Ano sa sayang?
Fermented na siya. May kaunting tamis galing dun sa tubo. Sarap. Makakalasing na nga to.
Makalasing na pag marami yung
marami. Omon.
Ang ganong ahin
Oo,
din.
yan din. Maloon, mapados.
May
konta.
Ano yung may konta sa ulma?
Okay na siya.
Konta!
Sarap. This is insane.
Sakta din.
Ito na po, Dato, yung nakakalasing.
Yung nakakalasing.
Mas matapang na. Ilang araw na po to?
Mga 3 days.
Oo, 3 days.
Medyo may maasim na
Sarap siya.
Mas gusto ko yung lasa ng fermented.
2 days.
3 days?
3 days.
Mas gusto ko na to.
Jesus.
Sarap ng kanin.
Oo nga no. Solid. So, gusto mo try?
Aabot na ng 6 days. Parang ng sopa.
Dapat mainom na. Mas
lasa.
Binded na.
Mas gusto namin yung 3 days. Sagradong tradisyon.
Pagkain.
Karanasan,
Mga bagong kaibigan,
Walang kapantay na kaligayahan.
tuloy lang sa paglakbay, sa pagbabahagi at pakikibagay.